Have you ever wondered why you don't sound like a pro? You learn your favorite solos note for note, but it somehow still sounds wrong. Well, today we're going over 3 of the most important things that will transform you from sounding like a beginner to sounding like a pro. Hey, what's up guys, I'm Jordan, welcome back. When I look back at videos or recordings of my playing, the biggest thing that stands out's not my knowledge of the fretboard, the licks I can play, any of that. To be honest, over the last 15 years of playing guitar, when I look back, I mean, I knew the pentatonic scale very early on. A few years in, I knew the major scale. And I knew some cool licks about 5 years in probably. And honestly, there's not that much that I've learned since then, but these 3 things have improved drastically over the last 10 years, making my playing sound completely different than it did 10, 15 years ago. And of course, you know, technique, learning theory and scales and licks and all that is very, very important. Learning your favorite solo is very important. All that's very important, but you'll never sound like the pros unless you work on these 3 different things every day. And that's dynamics, timing and feel, and then your bends and vibrato. First of all, dynamics literally can involve anything, absolutely anything. It's literally just a change, really. If you think about it, it's a change in something. It's changing how loud something is, how quiet something is. Was it clean or distorted? Did it have reverb or was it dry? Did it have a delay, a slap delay? Like, are you in a different tuning? Is your volume knob rolled down a little bit? Are you on a different pickup? Are you using a different pick? Are you picking in a different location? Are you using your fingers? Literally, dynamics is the combination of all the possible things that could change the sound at all. And it's your job to make sure every day to practice on a certain element of that so you can make sure you control your dynamics and you can bring your music to life. Because really, without dynamics, all music is just boring and kind of monotone sounding. It's kind of lame. So let's go through a couple things to really try out and develop dynamics. First of all, which I'm not going to do today, is a relatively clean, I would actually say not super clean. I would say like on the edge of breakup tone is typically the best. Where you hit really hard, it distorts. You hit light, it cleans up. That's the best practice zone in my opinion. You don't necessarily want to be too clean where you'll never get it to distort. It'll just get louder, which that's fine. That's actually better than the alternative where it's like super distorted always and compressed and there's almost no dynamics ever. That has its value, but for practicing dynamics, you know, a bunch of distortion where it's compressed and you can't hear any difference is not going to really help you out much, right? So we find that either clean or edge of breakup, which is what I prefer. And then we can dive in and practice some of these elements right here. So I have a kind of higher gain sound right now. So I'm going to roll my volume knob down, which is part of dynamics, right? That's right there in and of itself is dynamic. Let's play the same thing real quick. We'll go like this. That's volume on 10. Roll it down a little bit. That's dynamics. You can involve that in your solos, your improvising, your songs. One thing I love to do, I was just doing this a second ago, on a Les Paul you can do this. I had my neck rolled down, where it's clean. And then my bridge set dirty. Right, that's a dynamic change. It's like hitting a channel switcher. So I might do in a blues solo. I want to build it up, make it rock. Right, that's dynamic. So sitting down, that might be what you do for the next month or two. You just figure out, how can I get dynamic differences on my guitar? You know, am I going to roll the volume knob? Roll it down. That was on 10. Here's on 3. You know, you might hold a note out, right? You go like this. Let me bend in tune this time. Right? You might do something like that. Right? Using the tone knob. Okay, let's try it. Here's all the way up on 10. Roll the tone knob down. Let's go to 5. Right, it's a little warmer, a little less sparkly, a little smoother. Let's roll it down even more. Oh, there we go. But now you can be playing a riff or a solo and you have this sound. And you can roll up the knob to 10. And you can use that as a different sound, right? Or you could roll the volume knob down and have like this be your kind of crunchy rhythm. And then down even lower is your clean. And then all the way on 10's your like shred solo. Right? Sit down just every day. Make sure there's some part of your day where you're working on dynamics of controls with the instrument. You're not reaching for pedals. You're not hitting buttons. You're not doing anything crazy like that. It's just what's on the guitar, and you sit there with that. Now, the best thing for this is an edge of breakup or maybe a little past that. Too much gain might interfere with this, and then not enough gain can make it where it doesn't work with this. So finding the tone balance is ideal. So you want at least edge of breakup, if not a little over, for using the volume knob, tone knob kind of combo. Now, let's talk about the pick, right? Obvious things is that you must do is just, you could walk 2 notes. And then you just sit down, you're like, how quiet can I play these notes? How quiet can I play the pentatonic scale? Let's try that. Right? How loud can I play the pentatonic scale? Without breaking a string or something. And then what's in between? All right, now let's try to combine them. Right, so you know some blues licks. Something like that. How quiet can I play it? Without touching anything, just the pick and controlling that. And then maybe we combine what we just talked about with the volume knob, roll it down, and then we pick it light as well. So we're like, say that's the slow part of the solo, right? Right, then say the song builds up. You just go to that knob. I'm on 5. Let's go to 7. Go up to 9. All the way up. Right, we can take a basic lick. Say you learn this lick. But I can make it sound like this. Make it sound like, sounds a little bit different. Roll the knob up. Now, I'm obviously in that lick combining what we're going to talk about in the last step, which is bends and vibrato, because that's very important. Goes along with this, but practice ways of picking things hard and light and really train yourself to control that. All right, so that's an obvious one. That's very, very important. So those two together, beautiful combos to practice. Yes, you can hit an overdrive pedal. You can do that as well. I'd rather you start with the guitar and try to maximize what you can do on the guitar before going to pedals. But that's obviously, that's dynamics too. The next thing, picking location changes the sound. So let's check this out. Bridge pickup, let's go to 5. Let's go to 5. I love this sound. This is my, you might not like it. I love this sound. Right, picking like right on the bridge. You know, or pick where I normally pick. Sounds different, right? Let's do the same thing. Or you might even pick on the fretboard. That on the neck pickup is great. Let's try that. All sounds completely different. I can play the same thing. Let's go back earlier, that lick. If I did it right here. Different sounds, right? So practice where you pick on, you know, different areas of the guitar. Obviously, you're gonna always have your standard kind of zone, which is like for me, like right here. But you know, from that zone, you can move. Also, angling the pick differently. So you could go like super flat. It's not my favorite sound, but it's a sound, and you can use it dynamically in music. You know, it's plucky sounding, right? It's really cool. Right? Or you could obviously pick angle, right? And you can do a radical pick angle where it's like super scratchy and soft. Here's flat. Right? Also, the dynamics of the flat is less. Like, you can't be as quiet with the, it's too plucky to be like super quiet. It's a bit harder. But yeah, so you have those tonal difference, right? So let's go back to that lick. Let's go super angled. Flat. All right, now then the last thing on that topic, fingers. You know, you can either hybrid pick or just use your fingers straight up. So you might even just, I usually hold the pick like in my middle finger right there. I'll just do this. And I mean, your fingers are probably the most dynamic pick that you could use. Like, you can go so soft to just outright plucking it. Like, I used to be so terrible with my fingers, but I had to practice that. Oh, I love that. Okay. Right, so use the fingers, or you could do the Wes Montgomery where you use the thumb, right? Steve Vai does that in, what's that song? That's such a great song. I forget the name of the song, but it's one of Steve Vai's songs. It's so beautiful. But the thumb. We could go like all day talking about dynamics, but that was some ideas holding the pick differently, picking different areas, picking softer or harder, using the volume knobs and tone knobs, and then, using your fingers. Like there's so much into that. Now, set up your guitar tone, like I said, either clean, edge of breakup, or maybe a little past edge of breakup. Don't go super distorted and compressed and saturated. Or even say you're clean with a compressor pedal, turn the compressor pedal off. And also, the louder your amp can be, the more ideal this will work, because your level of loud to quiet is going to be improved. So if you're playing a super quiet amp, it's not going to really work out as well as if you're playing cranked up. And obviously it might annoy people, but if you're cranked up, that's going to be the best practice, because you can really, really hear the soft to loud ratios going on. When it's super quiet, you're not going to notice that as much. All right, number 2, timing and feel. I've thought about these terms for a while to try to try to figure out what I mean by them, and hopefully I can lay this out. First of all, make sure that you are practicing to a metronome or a drum track and a backing track every day. Okay, every single day. Metronomes are not just for building speed. Honestly, a metronome's use is like, that might be 5% of the use of a metronome. The metronome should be on like all the time. Not all the time, but most of the time. And it's just for rhythm and timing practice, not for speed, technique, speed, like all that. It's not for that. It's for having good timing and good feel. And there's different feels. You have your laid back feel, you have a very kind of anxious feel, you have your swing feel. You have all that you have to practice and go through. So always turn on a metronome or a drum track. I love just tapping my foot, trying to tap my foot and play in time with that, and just go through. And you can just practice a scale. Let me put on a drum track real quick. Here's a drum track, right? I can practice a scale to it, right? Try different timings, all right? Let's go like... Practice a lick to it. Just practice grooving. We go to a shuffle. Here we go. Practice playing rhythm. All right, anyway, so every day practice rhythm, practice your songs, practice your lead ideas, practice your scales to a metronome, not for speed purposes, but for timing and feel purposes, right? Practice 12-bar blues all the time to a track, to a metronome, whatever it is. You need to be doing that every day, learning that feel, and then listening to a lot of music. So like Eddie Van Halen, in my opinion, the biggest thing when I listen to him that I hear is, obviously he's got killer licks that he's doing, but it's the feel. Like, yeah, think of Van Halen, I'm the One. It's like the whole feel of that song is like just incredible. Eddie and Alex's feel together, that's to me what made Van Halen so awesome. Obviously he was doing incredible guitar stuff, but it's that feel. And so there's like super straight feels or super swung, laid back feels. They're all things that you had to practice, and you can take the same ideas. It's not something new. It's how you're playing it, not what you're playing, right? We already, basic scales, technique, this, that, the other thing. This is one of those things, building off dynamics. You learn something note from notes, but it still doesn't sound right. Your dynamics are not right, and your fill is not right. All right. And maybe your timing's off too. So like those kind of go hand in hand, right? So, or your timing's on, like you're feeling the timing right, but your fill's off, right? So that's a possibility too. Maybe you're too on and it should be laid back more, or maybe you're too laid back and it needs to be on the pocket more. All those things are making you sound not like a pro. Even though you know the notes perfectly and say you already have the dynamics down, you don't have the feeling right. So you have to make sure to practice that every day and learn these different feels. All right, last thing, I have a whole video talking about this as I think I called it like the most important guitar technique, which it is, and that's bends and vibrato. Bends and vibrato is one of the things that honestly, it's like the unique DNA of every guitar player in a way. And there's so much incredible different vibratos out there. And I just would say, try to study I would say like B.B. King's got a very unique vibrato. Angus Young's kind of similar in there. I love Michael Schenker, Steve Vai. You can go, what's the guy from Steel Panther? Satchel. He's got like that really awesome like metal vibrato. It's really perfect. George Lynch or Warren DeMartini, the slide vibrato. Richie Kotzen does that in his own way, the slide vibrato, which is really, really cool. Oh my gosh, I'm envisioning the other player. What's his name? He's Greg Howell. Greg Howell. He has that. Oh, it's such a great vibrato. It's not something you use all the time, but it's awesome. It's a dynamic choice. It stands out. It makes you sound unique. But then you have the B.B. King vibrato. You have Stevie Ray Vaughan vibrato. You have Eddie Van Halen vibrato. Steve Vai vibrato. You have all these different elements. There's an infinite elements. Now, there are some great players that have terrible vibrato. I don't want to point any fingers. One is Kirk Hammett. But moving on, there's some guys that you shouldn't look up to for vibrato. That's just not good. There's so many great guys that have great vibrato, and I would say practice all of them, because we also don't want to be the guy that has one vibrato that we use all the time. Because every song, every piece of music, you should have a dynamic vibrato that's fitting the story that you're telling in that moment. And talking about this lick earlier, if it's super laid back and chill, I might have this small vibrato, just like very, like you almost don't even hear it. If I'm building it up, it's intense. You might get the Zach, I didn't bring up Zach Wall. It's like, right? But if it's quiet, so not only with the dynamics that we talked about earlier, bends and vibrato also. So check out the bend. So we do a slow bend. Fast bend. Pre-bends. Right? We could do the same thing, do a slow bend. So I could do a slow bend, fast bend, pre-bend. So watch. Right, do the slide. Right, there's all these go together. Now, what's great about all three of these elements, and I try to do this with everything, is I want to kill as many birds with one stone. What's beautiful about these three different things, not only working on this is going to make you sound like a pro guitar player, but you can and should work on all three of these at the same time. Dynamics goes hand in hand with timing and fill, and that all goes hand in hand with bends and vibrato. We don't need to practice dynamics, practice timing and fill, and bends and vibrato. Now, we can split it up. I think you should split it up sometimes, but also, if you are short on time, you can sandwich it all together. The dynamics, timing, and fill. So just put a drum track on, right, or a metronome, or whatever, a backing track, it doesn't matter. Anything that keeps a rigid time. And you can practice dynamics simultaneously as you're practicing bends and vibrato, right? Or maybe you start off isolating, for you can really get a game plan going, and learn, like, okay, these are the different types of vibratos and bends I want to do. This is the different types of dynamics I want to do. This is the different fills I want to do. Do I want to swing laid back? Do I want to be on the pocket? Do I want to be kind of early? You can practice all these different elements and then put them all together so you can kill all three birds with one song. Because that's how we use it in music. We connect all these things, right? Now, obviously, our technique of speeds and scales and licks and this, that, and the other things are important as well. But if you're not practicing these three things every day, you're going to always sound like an amateur. You're never going to sound like a pro. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed today's video and you got a lot out of it. I'll see you guys next time.